Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, where we broadcast weekly interviews with millionaire minds from across the globe to empower you on your journey of unlocking a rich and fulfilling life. It's time to unleash your millionaire within. Now, here's your host, Maddie A.
What's going on, Millionaire Mindcast fam? Got a great episode for you guys today with my man, Mr. Craig Ballantyne. You guys are going to enjoy this one. Craig is someone who is a high-paid performance coach. He's the creator of the Perfect Life Workshop, the Perfect Day Formula, the Perfect Week Formula, Wall Street Journal best-selling books. He is an all-around badass. His business background built a multiple seven-figure fitness empire and then went into consulting and working with big names in the industry and kind of expanded out beyond that to work with other 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs. And so you're going to get some perspective today from one, a multiple seven-figure business owner. You're also going to get some perspective from someone who works with and studies and empowers and enables 6 and 7 and 8-figure earners to take themselves to that next level. So two cool parallels that we kind of cover in today's interview. But if you are new to the show or if you haven't hit me up yet, be sure to text me at 844-447-1555. Love getting to connect with you guys from all around the globe. I actually talked to my first 70-year-old yesterday who has listened to the show. And while I've been talking with 16 and 17 and 21 and 31 and 40-year-olds, it was kind of cool to still see someone pushing to get to that next level. And what it showed me was that this journey of growth, this journey of breaking through ceilings and getting to new levels and optimizing and evolving yourself never stops, at least for you guys, the Millionaire Mindcasters who are intentionally looking to expand your world and your impact and your opportunities. And one of the ways that I can continue to support you on that journey of course, continue to put out great content and bring on amazing guests like Craig to the platform and the podcast, but also to connect with you guys directly. And yes, I do answer each and every one of those texts, so hit me up at 844-447-1555. And if you haven't entered our monthly contest giveaway of over $1,100 in prizes, gift cards, coaching calls, books, planners, courses, you can do that by heading over to go.millionairemindcast.com. With that being said, if you're not familiar with Craig, he is someone who, again, has worked with some of the top online and business entrepreneurs in the world. And today, I got to really pick his brain and kind of dive in based on a lot of the questions that you guys have been throwing in as well on what is this difference between a 6-figure entrepreneur and a 7-figure entrepreneur. And he shared some of the things that he has seen by working with many people that are striving to get to that 6-figure mark and then scale to that 7-figure mark, and then many of the individuals that he's worked with that have scaled to that 8-figure mark. And some of the things that they do, some of the things that they don't do. We talked a lot about the difference and the importance of your evening and your morning routines and some different takes on those things. He talked about what he sees holding most entrepreneurs back from getting to that next level. And I resonated with a lot of these things. It was great for me to hear some of this stuff, and I know you're going to enjoy this too, being that many of us have these same hurdles mentally and physically on our path of entrepreneurship, and sometimes we're not even aware of them. So enhancing your awareness around some of these things that we talk about here today is going to be extremely impactful. The difference between makers and managers when it comes to leadership and the importance of that and how that's going to tie to the overall success you have, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you are someone who has a team. He really talked about some great stuff today, things that top performers are paying attention to right now. I always like to get into the mind and the psychology of what some of the best, most successful people are paying attention to stay ahead of the curve, to stay one step in front of their competition or trends or people. We talked about accountability, something that many people lack in their life and in their business, and how you can bring more of that into your world. We talked about the importance of doing more video and how this is going to create more opportunity and enhance your brand and expand your platform and your reach to have the impact that you want, and of course to generate more income, more opportunities, more clients from those. And he had some great challenges that he does with his clients that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Overall, a really cool episode today with Craig. So I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and dive into today's episode, continue that march to $1 million and beyond right after this quick message. Are you ready to quit talking about your real estate investing goals this year and start taking the necessary actions to make them a reality? If you're truly serious about leveraging the vehicle of real estate to build wealth, to generate passive income, to unlock financial freedom, then working with a coach is the missing link. If you want to avoid the mistakes that most people make, you want to accelerate getting the results, you want to shorten your learning curve without having to figure it all out on your own, then sign up for a free discovery call with me today to discuss how I can help you getting there. You can do that by texting the word mentor to 844-447-1555 to set up a call time directly with me. I will be working with a few committed investors, serious investors who are ready to take their real estate investing goals to the next level this year by giving them complete access to myself, my team, my network, my resources, and all of my business systems. And if this is something that you are interested in, don't wait. Set up a call today. Text the word mentor to 844-447-1555. Welcome into the show, Craig Ballantyne. What's going on, brother?
Hey, this is going to be a blast. Looking forward to this.
Dude, we're going to have some fun for sure. You know, anybody that has a core business around a perfect day, a perfect week, living life intentionally, I get fired up being that. That's a passion of mine. It's been something that, it's kind of like test, tweak, optimize, test, tweak, optimize. It's kind of a game, right? So I know we're going to spend some time on that. But a lot of people heard in the intro that you're a coach to, hundreds of seven-figure entrepreneurs, taking people to their first six figures, to their first seven figures, multiple seven figures and beyond.
Yeah.
How'd you get into this line of work, man?
Well, that's a great question. And so I spent probably about 15 years selling my own workout programs on the internet. And about halfway through that career, people started saying, hey, how are you doing this? And I started coaching people really kind of on the side. And then I had my first event in 2007, had about 50 people to it, started my own mastermind group, started another one with this guy, Bedros Koulian, really great dude. We had 50 people in that mastermind group at one point. Then we got rid of it because we were kind of bored of it. And then now we work with really higher level people. He and I have a mastermind, I have my own. And it was really just people, when people are asking you questions all the time, that's when you know you're onto something. So that's the best way to start a business.
Yeah. I know for me personally, when, I was flipping a couple hundred houses, the first few years of my career, and everybody's asking, how do I flip a house? How do I flip a house? Right. I know I'm not scalable. And I can't repeat this thousands of times. So you kind of get that demand that tips the hat on maybe where you should be going into. I'm curious, for a lot of our audience being entrepreneurs that are maybe aspiring and looking to take that first leap of faith in their business, or maybe they're looking to get to that next level, what are the things that you see separate the successful entrepreneurs and really the entrepreneurs?
That's a great question too. And so I would say that one of them is your network. Okay. So knowing a lot of people makes everything in life easier. And I'm talking about finding the love of your life, to getting back in shape, to growing a business, to knowing where to invest that money, to knowing how to flip houses, right? If you don't know anybody who knows anything about real estate, you're not going to be very good at flipping houses. But if you know 40 agents and commercial real estate agents and all that sort of stuff, you'll probably know somebody. So grow your network, be a person of value, grow that network. And almost all of the successful people and people with who I consider successful have all areas of life checked off: health, wealth, family. And so those people are very well connected. Now, the other thing that I'd recommend is that the more prepared you are, the more successful you're going to be. And so if you take a look at the top negotiators in the world, whether it's Chris Voss or whether it's somebody like Canada's Ted Turner, this guy named Ted Rogers, who passed away several years ago, his team was always the most prepared side going into negotiation. They always won the negotiation. They were always more prepared. And when I work with entrepreneurs, the people who are the most prepared at the end of the previous workday are the ones who dominate the current workday. If you're waking up and you're doing your to-do list in the morning, you're already too late. It's way too late. You're losing the best time of your day. So prepare the night before to dominate your day, just like a Broadway play prepares. They got everything scripted, just like, the New England Patriots got everything scripted for their first plays. Nobody's winging it. And if you're winging it, that's why you're not having success.
I love that. Buddy of mine, and I'm sure you know of him, Hal Elrod, wrote the Miracle Morning. And I know that that's something that you talk about, controlling your mornings. And before we talk about that, though, you said something that I've always believed in and that I kind of have subscribed to over the last 5-6 years, which is my mornings are won when I win my evenings the night before.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit to how you feel the importance of your evenings, being that that's when a lot of people unplug and they give themselves permission to kick back and lay back? How does somebody still balance, of course, having some of that personal recharge time, but also utilizing the evenings to set up their next day?
Well, listen, I think people who think that recharging means sitting in front of the television, listen, you can watch 6 shows, you can watch 10 shows, you ain't going to be more recharged the next day. So that is the easy way out. And trust me, I've been there. I like watching television. I wouldn't say as much as the next person. I hate a lot of television, but I do like watching some television shows. And those things are made to be addictive, and they keep you up later at night than you should be. Same with alcohol, same with social media, same with all the things that you associate with recharging. They do not recharge, period. End of story. And if you want to be a high performer, then on your quote unquote school nights, you got to stay away from the junk. You got to keep the junk from going in your head, to keep the junk from going in your body. And that on nights when you sit down and maybe you have a journaling routine and you have a meditation routine and a reading a book routine, you talk to your spouse routine, and then you wake up the next day, you have better days compared to the days where you're like, I'm going to have 1 glass of wine and watch 1 Netflix show. And the next thing you know, it's a bottle and a half of wine later, a bag of M&Ms, maybe some potato chips, and you've binge watched 8 episodes of a Netflix show. Tomorrow morning is going to be painful.
Yeah.
It's going to, and people who say, I need a little bit of wine to go to bed. Well, research shows that one of the worst things you can do is have alcohol before bed, because you might think you fall asleep faster, but you do not get into deep sleep. You do not get into REM sleep as well as if you did not have alcohol a couple hours before bed. And that's why you're waking up like, man, I got 8 hours of sleep last night. Why do I still feel like crap? It's because of that. So, you know what? Being a high performer is not about having a lot of fun at night. I mean, it's just not. If you think it is, you've been reading the wrong books. And if, like Kobe Bryant, everybody loves Kobe Bryant. He's in the news all the time. It's a very tragic accident that he had. Kobe Bryant was not, like, I'm going to unwind with some Netflix tonight, bro. Like, that's not what he was doing.
True. Everybody
wants to have, 28 gold medals like Michael Phelps, but nobody wants to spend 10 hours a day in the pool. And that's the bottom line about human nature. And that's the bottom line about why you're struggling, anybody who's listening to this. And here's the last thing I'll say on that, is that you need to draw a line somewhere. You need to be willing to admit what you are not willing to do. So if you're out there saying, yeah, I'm going to be the next billionaire, yeah, I'm going to be this, that, and the other thing, and you're not willing to do the work, just be quiet and stop, waking up with depression every day because you're not doing the work. Just say, you know what? I'm gonna be satisfied with $100,000 a year, and I'm gonna live this $100,000 a year lifestyle. And you know what? I'm not gonna actually do the hard work. You're better off doing that than lying to yourself every day that you're gonna become the next billionaire. Because billionaires, like I'm reading this like cheesy looking little book by Mark Cuban. It's called How to Win at the Sport of Business, and he's like, yeah, I worked 24 hours, 7 days a week until I got married, and now I only work 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I mean, if you think you're going to compete against a guy like that while you're watching your 4 shows on Netflix and drinking your 6-pack of Bud at night, forget about it. You're going to lose that game every day.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. We just had an event, and Ed Milet was our keynote. And,
oh, sweet.
And he was talking about
get down.
He was talking about the same thing though, right? He's like 24-hour days or so 1990. He's like the top peak performers that you see, that you aspire to be like. You want to see what they do. They fit 44 hours into one day. They work 3 mini days in one day. And so
he loves that shtick, doesn't he? That
he loves
I'm
that.
like, what are you talking about? That's like just the normal day, dude.
Yeah, right. But it was one of those things where, again, who are you measuring yourself against? Because if you want to be elite, you want to perform at that elite level, then that's what those guys and gals are doing. And I know you drew a line in the sand early on in your career. You weren't always this massively successful dude who has impacted not only, your own life and your own employees' lives and all the individuals that have opted into doing business with you, but all the people that you've coached and mentored and impacted along the way. But you changed the script on yourself first. What was that?
Totally. So I used to be hypocritical. I used to be a binge drinking, kind of socially anxious, introverted type of person. I was a personal trainer, but I was binge drinking on the weekends. So, here you have, I say this and I do this, and it leads to a lot of stress and anxiety. Had some anxiety attacks and decided, okay, listen, it's time to grow up and it's time to live according to your alignment. So a lot of people listening to this, in that age range, 25 to 35, I was in the middle of that when I had the anxiety attacks, went to the emergency room a couple of times, and then I changed my life. And now I really get a lot of enjoyment out of, virtuous things as opposed to viceful things. There's no regrets on virtuous things. And so I live a very virtuous life, go to bed early, get up early, work, add value. But, at the same time, I actually have a much better life living this way, go to 5 new countries every year, just I'm able to impact people. And so you just have to change your reward system. What really rewards are you chasing? Are you chasing alcohol? Are you chasing parties? Like, really, you're still chasing parties age 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Like, give it up. Parties are for young kids, and get on track with living your best life, the life where you're going to have a legacy and an impact. So you need to know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. And once you know what you truly are about, once you know your true self, once you know truly what your values are, then you can design your life to be successful, whatever that means to you. You don't have to be Ed Milet. You don't have to be, the next Mark Cuban, but you need to be the best version of you. And that's one of my favorite things that Ed talks about. He says, well, God gave me the opportunity to be, this great person. And when I die and I meet what I could have been, I want to be as close to that thing as possible. I really like that.
That was such a cool message
that he has. Yeah, it really is a cool little message. And so, just be the best version of you every day within the boundaries you're willing to be. I mean, if you're going to work 24 hours a day, Mark Cuban's probably not the best father in the world, but what trade-offs is he willing to make? Because even the best father in the world, sometimes kids just go bad. It's like, you've heard about great parents and their kids go off on, there's the whole life is a whole crapshoot. But just figure out where you are willing to play. And once you have figured out where you're willing to play, then play that game as well as you can.
You've worked with, 6, 7, 8-figure earners. What do you see being the separator between the 6 and the 7-figure earner?
Well, I think it's definitely what we talked about before, which is the preparation. Another thing is that 6-figure entrepreneurs tend to hit the panic button very early, very often. So I have this t-shirt that says 11 out of 10, it's 11 over 10, just like, people usually see like 1 over 4 for like a quarter, but no, 11 out of 10. And so I've realized there's 3 different types of people that I have as coaching clients. I have the people who are normal, and they would rate their week, because that's the first question I ask my coaching clients in their weekly email updates. Rate your week on a scale of 1 to 10. And the normal people rate it like usually between a 6 and a 9. Bad week, 6, pretty good week, 9. Okay, great. That's how I would rate it. And then you have these other people who always hit the panic button. Oh my gosh, I got a refund this week, or an employee quit. It's a 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. If this is a 1 out of 10 in your life, then what are you going to rate the week when your girlfriend left you got kicked in the nuts, and your dog got run over? Because that's going to happen all in one day at one point in your life. And if you're a 1 out of 10 because one of your employees quit, you don't have the mental resilience in order to become a 7-figure earner, 8-figure earner, 9-figure earner. You're going to get sued. The more money you make, the more often you're going to get sued. And if you can't go through a week without calling it a 1 out of 10 because somebody quit on you, what's going to happen when somebody sues you? You're going to be like, I'm out. And so that's the biggest difference. And the third type of person, because I said there were 3 types and I've only talked about 2, is the person whose baseline is nothing less than 11 out of 10. Like every single day, they are super optimistic. They're very grateful. They're an 11 out of 10. Even if their dog got hit by a car, they got kicked in the nuts and their girlfriend left them. 11 out of 10, man. 11 out of 10. And those people are often the most successful people.
Yeah, I found that, at least from a lot of the people I've been able to interview, like yourself and other high performers and, mentors and people I've modeled after, their ability to emotionally manage the highs and the lows is next level. And I know there are a lot of other principles and practices and disciplines that you see that I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs who are really successful have, and then there's a lot of gaps that you see. What are some of the most common themes that you see people could easily get rid of by maybe just bringing some more attention to, that's holding them back, that would really allow them to catapult to that next level?
That's another great question. And the answer is very, very clear. And it is 100% leadership and delegation. So too many six-figure entrepreneurs, what they're doing is they're doing all the work, right? They're putting everything on their own backs. They're suffering in silence. They're not asking for help. Their ego is in the way. They're not getting coaching, whatever. They're just like, I'm going to do this all myself.
Yep.
And listen, you are going to suck at that because nobody can do it all themselves. Like Elon isn't doing it all himself. And so you have to delegate. You have to stop doing the $10 an hour tasks. You have to stop doing things that you think, oh, I'm the only person who can do this. No, you're not the only person who can do it. You're not the only person who can write great copy. You're not the only person who can sell on the phone. You're not the only person who can run a meeting. You're not the best. You're probably not the best at anything compared to other people in your organization. There's probably one person who can write copy better than you. There's one person who can do sales better than you. There's one person who's better organized than you, and all sorts of that. So you got to delegate that stuff, and you got to coach and train people up. So as a 8-figure entrepreneur and 7-figure entrepreneur, you become less of a maker and more of a manager. You become the person who is like Phil Jackson. You are not Michael Jordan. So Phil Jackson, well, let's actually use Michael Jordan now. So Michael Jordan is the owner of a basketball team. And it doesn't matter how good Michael Jordan still is to this day. If he goes on the court and he scores a layup, it does not count. All he has to do, along with the coach of the team, is they have to bring in the best talent, and they have to coach that talent and provide them an environment where they can flourish. And it doesn't matter if he can beat some of them in a game of one-on-one, none of his buckets count anymore. And it's the same with the entrepreneur that hits 7 and 8 figures. You got to bring in the copywriter to write the copy and coach them, because you got to coach all the people on your team. That's the only way you're going to scale up to 8 figures, 9 figures. You can't be doing the making anymore. You have to be doing the managing.
I love that. What do you think some of the best things you see those 7 and 8 figure earners doing at the highest level?
It is this really great phrase. It's servant leadership. So servant leadership, popular term, maybe Ken Blanchard, I think, came up with it, or it might have been Andy Grove. I can't remember exactly who it was, but these guys who were amazing leaders from the late 90s and 2000s. And what they did was essentially most people think of leader, CEO up at the top. Everybody wants to be the CEO rather than the private jet. No, a servant leader is at the bottom, supporting everybody on top of them, supporting the customer service team, supporting the marketing team, and coaching them and being available for them and helping them improve their skills and holding them accountable, just like being a coach. And that's what the entrepreneur who is scaling up and having better results is doing, and building systems and communicating the vision. And it's almost like what work are you actually doing? It's not traditional work anymore. It is management, and it is communication, and it is leadership, whether it's spiritual leadership in terms of, lifting people up, or it's, sometimes it's very clear, this is our goal. This is exactly what we're marching towards. I'm going to, get everybody on board. But that is what the real high performers are doing. They're not running the Facebook ads anymore. You can teach somebody, if you're good at Facebook ads, you can teach somebody and they can come on and do it, and you can coach them up to be very, very good at it. And then from there, what you need to do is make sure that you are providing the support that they need.
You're hosting some epic masterminds. You're creating
some good ones. Yeah.
Yeah. You're hosting, you're like, yes, they are. And I know you're attending a lot as well. What are some of the trending topics or things that you see and you hear the top performers really pushing into right now that may not have been around a year or two ago?
Well, I think a lot of people are doing a lot more deep dive into therapy, and therapy's been around for a long time. But I think it's really important that everybody be open to therapy. I think most of the successful entrepreneurs that I know, me, my friend Bedros, like we do actually go to therapists, and everybody's got stuff in their head that holds them back in life, whether it's from being in emotional relationships or whatever it is. And you're not going to figure that stuff out on your own by reading a book, and you're not going to get rid of those things. And they're like mental handcuffs, whether it's money mindset from when you're a kid, or fear of rejection, or fear of trusting people, because, maybe you were yelled at too much. Like I was yelled at too much when I was a kid by my father, and he was an alcoholic. And so that left scars on me that stopped me from being as good of an entrepreneur and trusting people and being open, because I didn't want to get burned by people in general. And so, that's not, you're not going to read a book on like overcoming that stuff. You have to go deeper and deeper. So I think that you're seeing more and more entrepreneurs like saying, I don't care what you think of me. I've got depression or I've got anxiety, and I'm going to tell my team members and I'm going to go and get it fixed.
Yeah. Yeah. That authenticity and transparency, and kind of owning that we're all fucked up in our own way, shape, and form. Right. And just doing the best we can, but working on it, pushing into it, not being ashamed of it. Seems like more and more, especially top performers, are kind of being more open about it now.
Yeah, exactly.
In regards to what you're doing, how you are being someone that works with top people in really entrepreneurship, business in general, how do you continue to raise your leadership lid, and what are you pushing into to expand yourself and serve yourself and kind of fulfill yourself, being that you're always giving so much to other people? How do you do what you do at the highest level?
Well, I stay tapped into my network, and I have accountability partners. I have 4 coaches that I pay money to every year. I'm in mastermind groups. I get a lot of public accountability from my clients. I tell them what I'm going to achieve. And when you tell somebody that you're going to go and achieve something, you don't want to let people down. So you're going to go and do it. I'm a huge believer in the power of public accountability. So you got that in place, and I'm following my systems, and I'm hiring the best people, and I'm trying to become better at management and leadership every single day. So I'm just doing everything that I tell other people to do.
I love that. Accountability obviously has been a game changer for anybody that really opts into it. I always find that people that say they want accountability and then don't follow through never really wanted it in the first place. How important is that public accountability, and how can someone enroll in more of that in their life right now?
Well, first of all, listen, if you tell the world that you're going to do something and then you don't go and do it, man, there is very few people that can mentally do that, because you have to basically be a liar and be okay with being a liar. And nobody on this, well, I would say like 5% of people, my mentor, Dan Kennedy, said 5% of people are pathological liars and they cannot tell the truth. And so, okay, so there's 5% of the people listening to this are pathological liars, and you guys can get away with this. But the other 95% of us who are not pathological liars, it's going to cause stress and anxiety in us if we're saying, hey, I don't cheat on my wife, and you cheat on your wife, or like the pastor who says that, or, the business owner who says, yeah, I'm a really great leader, but it's not a great leader. Or the business owner who says, yeah, we're going to give you a refund if you don't like the product, and then they don't give a refund. Like unless you're a really bad person, those things are going to eat away at you, and they're going to manifest in physical issues, whether you might have digestive issues, or you might be depressed or anxious or something. It's because you're a hypocrite. Like I was a hypocrite when I said, hey, be a good, healthy person and you follow this nutrition program and writing for Men's Health. And then on the weekend, I'm drinking beer for 12 hours straight. Well, that doesn't fly in your brain. Your brain does not associate that and accept that. So when you get accountability and you tell the world that you're going to do something, your brain eventually realizes like, hey, you know what? I need to follow through on this. I need to do everything that's really uncomfortable, because it's more uncomfortable to be a hypocrite than it is to do the hard work. So that's why I found public accountability is so powerful. And when you have accountability on a coach level, if you find somebody that you deeply do not want to disappoint, and it has to be somebody you deeply do not want to disappoint, because you can have accountability to a coach and they can say, hey, go and do these 3 things. And you're like, I'll do 2 of them. I really don't care what this person thinks of me. That person obviously is not a right accountability partner. But I know from hiring coaches that if they said, jump 24 inches, I jump 25 inches and then say, hey, how high do you want me to jump now? And when you have that type of relationship where you don't want to disappoint them and you do more than they expect you to do, then you are going to move mountains in your life.
I love that. Where do you see entrepreneurs winning at right now that more people should be paying attention to?
Video, man. If you think you're going to, men and women, if you think you're going to get away or you're going to be able to build a business in this day and age without some type of video, whether it's an Instagram story, whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's making video for Facebook ads, there's very few people that are going to get away with that. You have to make video. And now you could be the copywriter behind the person making the video. That's great. But in most cases, even if you're the local plumber, if you're the plumber making videos all over social media and people are talking about you and then they need a plumber, who are they going to go to? They're going to go to you. And so that's the thing.
Yeah, I would say video is like, it's a window into you or the brand or the mission or the message. And now more than ever, people just want to know who you are, what you stand for, what you're actually all about. Do you do what you say you're going to do? And so having that window, I know for me personally, it's brought me big. It's how I bought a hotel. It's how I've bought a lot of real estate investment opportunities, coaching client, all kinds of stuff, right? Because people just want to know who you are, who Craig is. How, for someone that is, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound.
I don't like the way I look either. I got this thing right here between my eyes and I see it every single time that I make a video. Listen, I'm uglier than you are and I make a lot of videos and I have videos that have been watched 4.5 million times on YouTube. So if I can do it, you can do it. And every single other person that's uglier than you can do it. Get over it. Go make the video, because you know what? If you're like, I don't want people to criticize me. Right now, someone's talking behind your back and calling you this, that, and the other thing. And you haven't even made a video yet. So you may as well give them something to talk about.
Yeah, totally. It was funny the other day. I like listening to Brian Rose of London Real.
Oh yeah.
And he was talking about just in general. He's like, look, man, at the end of the day, this earth is 4.5 billion years old. You're here for maybe 50, 75, 100 years. Like, you're a fart in the wind. Nobody gives a shit about you and the way you look and the way you sound. So you might as well go out there and make it as epic of a journey and experience as you possibly can. And one of the ways, like you're saying, right, to have more impact, have more influence, create more income and opportunity for yourself, for mission or cause or a person or a group that you're passionate about, is to give yourself more visibility, more of a platform. And obviously video is one of those things. What kind of cadence, or what are some of the stepping stones for, do you have some kind of like, hey, follow this format, do this once a day or once a week, or what's your thoughts on how someone can break into doing more video?
Yeah, we actually have this little challenge. I would say, here's what you're going to do. You're going to do every single day for the next 30 days, you're going to make a minute-long video. You don't even have to post it. But you have to talk for a minute on something. And if it's good, post it. Now, in addition to that, every week you have to do a 10-minute video. And if it's good, post that on YouTube, because YouTube wants 10-minute videos. And then after you've done that, then move to a 30-day where you're doing 3-minute videos. And the next thing you know, you're going to be actually getting confident and you're going to start being good on video. So in 30 days, you'll have a market improvement. And again, you don't have to post it. And you, like, what are you going to talk about? You talk about your favorite book when you were a kid. You could talk about the favorite thing you ever learned from Tim Ferriss. You could talk about why you don't like Grant Cardone or why you do like Grant Cardone. You could talk about, hey, what's the thing that I have the most gratitude for in my life? What happened to me at age 10 that changed my life? What happened to me in high school or who was my mentor in high school? Like, listen, you can talk forever on stuff, and in a way that tells a story that is valuable to the world, and do it for a minute. It's not that hard. And in 30 days, you will have more confidence and you'll be comfortable talking into a camera. And then you'll realize how simple this is.
Yeah, I love that. So you guys heard it. 1-minute video for 30 days straight.
Yep.
And I know for me, anytime I push into something that scares the shit out of me or bothers me or that I'm fearful of, and I come out on the other side, it just weaponizes me and pushes me into a new level of confidence that I knew was in there. But when you overcome those things, especially with video, I don't know what it is about video and why we give a shit so much about what other people think or are going to say about us. It's pretty wild to see how much we don't do because of other people.
Oh, it's so funny. Grant Cardone has this awesome line. He goes, we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave, and people can't even make a video. Like, oh, okay, you should maybe change those last lines of your national anthem. I'm from Canada, so I can say this, but I mean, like, seriously, you live in the home of the brave and you're too scared to make a video.
So true.
Reconcile that, my friend.
I love it. And one thing I like about video, talking about Grant Cardone, I was listening to a podcast of his, which I don't consume a lot of podcasts at all, really, kind of ironically, because I have my own, but he was talking about this documentary he was watching with Bob Hope. And this guy was interviewing, and for those that don't know who Bob Hope is, just Google him. He's kind of
that's right. Who is Bob Hope?
He's the almost original influencer before influencers were even a topic.
Yeah.
And this guy was interviewing Bob Hope, and he said, you know, what's the one thing, Bob, that you would attribute to your success? And he goes, there's really just one thing. I ask myself one question every single day, and is, what is Bob Hope going to do today that's going to promote Bob Hope?
Oh, that's cool.
And I like that, because what he said, and Grant Cardone said, holy shit, that's when a light bulb went off. And I walked into the office the next day and said, what are we promoting today? Whether it's a mission, a message, a product, a service, your brand, something that you have on your heart that you want to get out there, every opportunity that you miss to promote you or any of those things, you miss your opportunity to have a potential impact, change somebody's life, to make more money, to whatever it is, right? But I just love that of like, what are you promoting today? And again, maybe you don't like Grant Cardone, you don't like his style, and he's this or he's that or whatever it is. You can morph it into being aligned with who you are and congruent with who you are, but you gotta put yourself out there. Video right now is obviously the best platform.
Yeah, I love that. You know, Bob Hope, you know, everybody's like, oh, well, you know, like anybody who's my age or older would know that name. And it's like, everybody thinks he's, you know, this nice old guy and that sort of stuff. But he was really, like, clearly,
he was a killer.
Like, hey, listen, I'm in the, you know, he's in the show business game.
Yeah.
And that's right, self-promotion. But here's the thing, is that everybody remembers him. And nobody remembers the person who didn't wake up and ask that question.
Man, so true. So true. So I know you got a lot of great stuff. Well, actually, before we move on, dude, I always like to do some research, and I've been following your content for some time, and I love the message that you put out and how you empower others. And I really, being that I love my dog, my fur baby.
Yeah.
You had some of, is it Bally?
Bally was the first dog that I had. Yeah.
Yeah. Bally's lessons. And I'm just, I'm curious, what of those lessons, which one would you, and maybe you can share a little bit on the backstory of why you pulled out those lessons.
But
well, if you were to pull out some lessons that you feel like today's entrepreneur really needs to hear, really needs to latch onto, really needs to buy into, that maybe they are overlooking or aren't listening to, what are some of those things?
Well, you know, I actually, when I had Bally the dog, I would write these emails to my fitness list back in the day from the dog, you know, so it's like the dog was sending this email, bark, bark, I'm going out to run intervals, bark, 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 woof, and, you know, and then I'm going to eat some this, that, and the other thing. And people to this day, I remember writing these in like 2009, people to this day come up to me and go, those were my favorite emails. So what did we learn from that? Well, we learned, like, hey, listen, people want to be entertained.
Yep.
And those emails made me money, and they want some information, but they more want entertainment, right? Like, most people are on social media or reading email because they're at work and they don't want to do work.
Yep.
All right. So
true.
I mean, that's just the way things are. We're going to deal with that, and we're going to use that to grow our business. And so I would go out there and I'd be different. I'd be entertaining. I'd have fun. I'd poke fun at myself. I'd be self-deprecating, and I wouldn't be uptight, because at the end of the day, people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if it's a dog that has to bridge the gap, great. But, you know, we see this all the time, whether it's the Geico lizard or, you know, some other thing that's out there. We remember that type of advertising and marketing because it was different than the company that just blasts you with a, you know, 14% off Valentine's Day sale for the holiday, you know? So yeah. So have some fun with it.
I like that. Bringing your personality into it, real life
100%.
Experiences. People relate to real people, I think. So,
and dogs.
And dogs, for sure. I don't know too many people that don't like dogs. With that being said, what are you paying attention to right now? What do you think is coming that you're maybe just has your radar peaked a little bit?
Well, I think LinkedIn, TikTok and LinkedIn. I mean, I have no idea.
Don't tell me you're on LinkedIn doing those little dances and hitting them.
Oh, on TikTok, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not. On TikTok, we're doing advice to like our 19-year-old self. Those are like almost all the videos I make.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, because that's the audience there. So what am I going to say to those people? I'm not going to be cool to them, but I'm going to say, hey, listen, back when I was you, I wish I would have known this. And we get some traction on that. My friend Bedros gets a lot of traction on that. And he was the guy like, hey, listen, that's we're not going to be making dances, although I do have a 8-count dance that I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. But so there's that. And then LinkedIn, I think, has finally gotten its act together. And I know a lot of people generating a lot of leads for many types of businesses on LinkedIn. So those are the two things that, because I understand Instagram, I understand YouTube, I understand Facebook, but I don't fully understand those two. So I'm learning.
Yeah, I like that. There's definitely, I think, as I know Gary Vee is bullish on both of those platforms, especially LinkedIn for business, and obviously depending on who your audience is, where that attention's at right now. But
personally, I hope that TikTok turns into the next Snapchat and like we can ignore it. But because who needs another? I don't need another social media.
Me either.
And a lot of people said, "Oh, you got to be on Snapchat." So I'm hoping that everybody, in a way, I'm hoping if it grew my business, and obviously I wouldn't hope that, but I'm like any old person. I don't want any more change in my life and that sort of thing. So I'm doing that. And then I'm also jumping into the CBD world too. So if anybody is a CBD sales guru, marketing guru, knows how to get around all the limitations on that, hit me up. I'd love to hear from you.
I can definitely connect you with a handful of people. I already got some people established in that.
It's a very Wild West world right now.
Very interesting place. It is for sure. A lot of opportunity, a lot of competition. But there's a lot of hurdles.
And so hopefully a lot of people will drop out because of the hurdles.
Yep.
Even I've thought about it. But you'll get a lot of people dropping out. And then when their hurdles are removed, a lot of people will flood into it, but you already be ahead of the curve. So that's a really good business lesson there. It's like if you're really devoted and committed to a business and you're running up against obstacles, look and see if the obstacles are going to be removed. Understand that everybody else is running up against the same obstacles, and what separates in most cases the people who become the mega movers versus the people that don't are it's just persistence. It's a lot of persistence. It's not hitting the panic button.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you talk about that, that patience and just not getting out too soon, too early. CBD, I know you're wellness wise, you're a fit dude, you take care of your health. It's important mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. What does your wellness routine look like, and how are you keeping yourself in an optimized state?
I exercise less than ever. I mean, I train 3 times per week, but I used to train 5, and it's just unnecessary for most of the stuff that I want to achieve now. And other than that, I don't go overboard on supplements or anything. I didn't really have much interest in CBD until a friend sent me a product and I tried it. It's like, oh, I actually feel, this is helpful. So I got a little bit into that. But I mean, if somebody looked at the way that I live my life, I'm definitely not overboard on anything, and I don't get too hung up on things, and I'm in pretty good shape. I'm 44. I don't look 44, and I don't move like a 44-year-old. So I think being consistent is key. Knowing yourself is key. Not overeating is key. I don't sleep as much as I should. That's one area that I've had some trouble with in the last couple of months, but improving on that. And really just probably the most important is remove anything that is detrimentally stressful. So certain things are stressful, right? That are good and positive stresses, like an exercise session.
Yep.
But negative people, toxic environments, addictions, you got to work really hard to get rid of those things, because those things will do more harm to you than you can do good with other habits.
I love that. Craig, brother, it's been amazing talking with you, man, dropping some bombs on us here over the last 40 minutes. And I know a lot of people are going to want to follow up with you. We got a lot of high performance individuals that are looking to get to that 6 or push up and scaled up to that 7 and beyond mark. We always talk about the march to $1 million and beyond. Mm-hmm. And if they want to follow more of what you're up to, I know you got a great Instagram page, you got a YouTube influence. What's the best place for them to follow more of the content and amazing things that you got going on?
Our best stuff is on Instagram. I really love that platform. So Real Craig Ballantyne. I answer all of my direct messages myself. So hit me up there anytime. I'm also old school, like my email. So Craig@godfather.com on email. And then I've got a book. I've got a bunch of books, but I would say the best book to start with is called perfectweekformula.com.
Cool. Yeah, he's got perfect week formula, perfect day formula. We'll have all of those links that and handles that Craig mentioned in the show notes at millionairemindcast.com. So be sure to check that out, guys. Craig, man, really appreciate you. Appreciate your time, all the amazing stuff that you're doing. If there's any value I can add to your mission, your message, I'm all hands on deck. Before we wrap up, you get to the end of your career, you look back in the rearview mirror. What do you hope you see, or what do you hope you hear people saying about you?
Man, I really don't care too much about what people say about me. To me, it's like, hey, listen, the most important thing to me is family. So I want the business to support my family. I don't need to be a billionaire. I'm not going to be a billionaire. There's no way in heck I'm going to be a billionaire, because I'm not willing to do what it takes to be a billionaire. But I really want to have a great marriage and a great family. And I'm going to do everything I possibly can on that side of things. And then I'm going to fit the business inside the box that remains.
I love it. Craig Ballantyne, thanks so much, brother.
No problem.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview and got some massive value from it. Just one thing can completely transform the path that you are on. And if you did, be sure to share it with somebody else. Be sure to give this gift to somebody else that needs to hear this today. And also be sure to tag our guests to let them know what they shared was appreciated, that it impacted you in some way. If you haven't entered our monthly giveaway of over $1,100 in prizes each and every month, we pick one listener. Be sure to head over to go.millionairemindcast.com and check out all the amazing prizes in that contest and giveaway and enter yourself. Also, if you and I haven't connected yet, be sure to text me. You can text me at 844-447-1555. Yes, I answer and respond to every text individually. I personally love connecting with all the listeners of the show. I love hearing what big goals and what big dreams you're marching towards. And most importantly, I love knowing more about how I can support you. So if I haven't gotten to connect with you yet, don't be shy. I want to connect with you. I want to hear what you're up to. Text me at 844-447-1555. Last, be sure to head over to therichlifeacademy.com to check out all the amazing free and paid products that we offer to our Millionaire Mindcast family, from one-on-one coaching with me to courses from our guests, all kinds of free content and downloads, upcoming event info on how you can connect with us live in person at some of our events and workshops, and all kinds of other valuable free tools and resources to help you on your wealth building journey. Be sure to check all those out at therichlifeacademy.com. If you have any questions, just text me at 844-447-1555. But if you're truly serious about taking your life, your business, your wealth to the next level, you're not just looking to keep learning, but you want to start taking action and have accountability and support and a community around you, then getting involved inside our community and getting in proximity to other people just like you is going to be the accelerator you need to get to that next level. It's going to be an absolute must. You can do that over at therichlifeacademy.com. With that being said, until next time, keep investing in yourself and your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. Cheers, my friends.